Welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable. I'm Eric Blue, I'm your host. I'm so excited you all came out tonight. Woo! Thank you all for coming out. Alrighty. Silence. Alrighty, so welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable. Once again, I'm Eric Blue. So we're going to be trying some new things this time. First of all, we're going to be Facebook Living the event and also recording it. So bear with us if we have some technical challenges, but I think we got this dialed in. I just want to thank Colton. He's really stepped up to help with all this technical gear we have here, make it sound and looks good. Woo! Alrighty, so there's that. So if you guys remember, so next door is the deal maker room. If you feel the need to talk during the presentations or what's going on in here, just feel free to take your conversation next door so you don't disturb the people who want to listen. And we want you to make deals, but just please go next door to do that. Okay, so those of you who have been regular attendees to the Real Estate Roundtable know that one of my favorite parts of the group was the introduction round. However, the group has gotten so large, I think the last time we did it, it took about an hour and 15 minutes to get to everybody in the room. So probably over the next couple of meetings, we're going to try different formats. So tonight, we're going to try it by category. So I'm going to go through each one, and by category, you're going to introduce yourself by standing, and we'll just, so people can look around the room and you can identify with, so if you want to connect with wholesalers, look around the room and see who's a wholesaler, and then when we have networking afterwards, you connect with them. So that being said, who's our wholesalers in the room? Please stand. Woo! Yeah, raise your hand too. It's kind of hard with some people. Wow. Welcome, wholesalers. So if you're interested in wholesaling, or if you're new here, you know who to connect with. Okay, how about our flippers? Who's our flippers in the room? Wow. Good. I guess flipping is still good out there. All right, our buy and hold folks. Oh, I see a lot of the same people hand going up. That's great. All right, multifamily. Again? All right, anybody doing commercial? Successfully? All right, our private lenders in the room. Anybody got money to lend? Oh, you know what, also, who's our regular lenders? Who else has got it? Matt will talk to you later. He's stuffing his face right now. Okay, who here doesn't know what they want to do in real estate yet? I know that about you, Ken. All righty, so we're going to be trying different things. The intro round, like I said, with a large group, we want everybody to connect and really get to know each other. And so we'll be trying different things. But hopefully that was enough for tonight. You might have some ideas of who you might want to connect with afterwards. So also, who's here for the first time tonight? Wow, look at all our new people. Well, you're in luck because you actually do get to still introduce yourself. So our lovely assistant, Jennifer, is going to bring you a mic, and you can, oh, I should have left the questions in there. So your name, what area of real estate, maybe your name, your day job, and what your area in real estate you're interested in. No, just walk the mic around to them. So if you're new and would like to introduce yourself, identify yourself so Jen can bring you the mic.
Hi. Say your name and what area you're interested in real estate, please.
Just those.
And maybe your day job or what you're doing now.
Okay. My name is Ben Truitt. I'm a project manager, and I'm also flipping houses in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm originally from Paradise, California. Rest in peace. And I'm here because I'm a good friend of Randy's, and I would like to support him. So that's it. Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Who else is new? Hi.
Hi, my name is Tammy Hunt, and I've been involved in a couple of flipping of houses. My day job is I've worked for the state for 34 years, and I'm getting ready to retire, so looking for a new career.
Hi, my name is Dave Hunt, and I'm in IT, and we've done some flips and interested in doing some more.
Thank you. Who else is new? Hi.
Hello, my name is Curtis Craig, and I work for with the Special Needs Company, helping individuals obtain employment. And I don't know my area of real estate yet. I'm just here to learn.
Perfect. Anyone over here? Hi. I'll walk around. Anyone new over here? Hi. Okay, we'll go here and we'll go over here.
Hi, my name is Michelle Seymour. I've been in underwriting, a mortgage underwriter for over 20 years. And I'd like to learn how to flip homes, and that's about it.
Hey, I'm Pete Johansson. I work for a flipper, and I just really want to inquire more about the business end of it. So that's why I'm here.
Cool. Thank you. Welcome.
How's it going? I'm Keelan Culberson. I'm a recent UC Davis graduate. So Aggies, go Ags, baby. I've been a licensed real estate agent for about a year now, and I'm interested in wholesaling. So I look forward to meeting a lot of you guys in this room. Thank you.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Michaela McCoyne, and I am not active, just looking at small multifamily and larger multifamily eventually, and came to learn.
Joel Wright with Keller Williams. I'm a residential real estate broker. I work with investors, play investor at times, and for the most time, I help support investors, help support you guys, because I don't want to do what you guys do. But
Good evening. I am Chris Arola. I'm the executive director of the Rental Owners Association. If you buy and hold, and you're doing it yourself, doing your management yourself, good for you. But I guarantee you, you need us. You need our forums. You need our education. Come look us up. We're happy to bring you into our fold.
Thank you. Hi.
Mike Wynn, I'm a pharmacist looking into commercial real estate investments.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Calderon, and I'm going to be a full-time wholesaler. I'm actually 20 years old. This is what I really want to do. I really want to start investing, and yeah.
Perfect.
Good evening. My name is Brian Royal. I'm currently in legislation. I'm an alumni of Sac State. Stingers up. And I'm looking to get into the investment aspect of real estate.
Hello, everybody. Oh, that's different. I'm Naheem Hunter. I'm currently in contracting, working with contracts, doing anything that has to do with contracts, become my new expertise. While I'm here, I just want to learn everything and try to fill my hunger that I have for real estate, learning everything I can about everything I do, and just gotta try to get full somehow.
Nice. Hi.
Hi, my name is Shane Clark. Locally, I'm a multifamily agent with TRI Commercial, and then I also fix and flip and invest in residential single and multifamily from the Central Valley, Midwest, Florida.
My name is Frank Chewalski, and I've been a GC for about 30 years, and that is kind of in the shadow now, and now we're into wholesale and doing real estate investing. So, first time here.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Over here? Oh, hi.
My name is Seth Carlson, and I am friends with Will. I do fix and flips and wholesale, and I have a couple deals. So if anybody's looking, come talk to me.
Hello, everybody. My name is Anthony. I'm interested in fix and flips, and my day job is searching for deals. Thank you.
My name is Ray Ponce, and I'm an old fixture here as a flipper. I've been doing it for many years, and I was invited here by Marissa Jones. Thank you. And I'm just checking you guys all out, see what's going on, maybe finding some wholesale deals.
Anyone else? Ken, hey. Great. Well, that's a very efficient intro round. Good job, Eric. I like your new mic, too. So, okay, let's see what new toys you got for 2019.
From here from now on.
He got a new
All right.
camera. He's got a new mic. What else did you get?
Oh, all sorts of stuff. Anyways, okay, real quick, for those of you who wanted to check the Facebook live stream, it's under the Real Estate Roundtable group page. So if you want to log into that or check it tomorrow, the recording will be up there. Alrighty. So actually, before we get onto that, so this is Steve. He's actually my stepbrother. He's also a professional photographer. So at this moment, we're going to take an opportunity to take a group photo with you all. So if you wouldn't mind all standing up and looking excited, we're going to get a new group photo of y'all. Oh, I could even get into it this time. Yeah. Well, maybe the people in the front should sit down. Let's do this. Does it work better if we're all standing, or should the people in the front sit down?
We might need to get close to Scoot more. Yeah, we're definitely going to.
Hey, I've been on the keto. What are you trying to say?
Hello. All right. All right, my friends, this is the widest angle lens you can get, and I cannot get all of you. So if we could please at least start about here. And if you wouldn't mind scooting in a little bit, folks, thank you very much. You can turn sideways. You can turn around. Just please don't moon me.
Yeah, Ken, turn backwards. Alrighty.
All right, all the folks on this side, unfortunately, you were not in the shot. So temporarily, let's please stand up. You can reclaim your seat in just a moment.
You know, if we put up the screen, you can go further back.
Yeah, it's going to end right about, if I had a straight line to the TV set, it ends right here.
Steve, you can go further back now. Alrighty. Now that everybody...
There we go.
Oh.
Nicely done, my friends. All right, here we go on the count of three. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Cheeseburgers.
Yay!
We're going to do a couple more. Hang in there. 3, 2, 1. All right, one more. 3, 2, 1. Now everybody get silly. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Go silly! One more silly. 1, 2, silly! Very nicely done. Very nicely done.
Alrighty. All right, well, thank you for bearing with us that. Okay. Alrighty, how are we on sound? Is my sound up? Alrighty. Who here wants to read what the Real Estate Roundtable is about for a $5 Starbucks card? Okay, right here. Oh yeah, let's get him a mic. Oh yeah, right. See, I keep learning.
The Real Estate Roundtable is a
is a community of like-minded real estate investors who meet on a regular basis to educate, motivate, and inspire each other to achieve financial freedom through real estate investing. We share stories, challenges, and tips about real estate investing. Instead of traditional networking, this group is really getting to know, like, and trust each other to foster lasting real estate investing partnerships. We crowdsource real estate knowledge, evaluating real deals, and learn real estate investment strategies from each other. It's a place to meet new folks, cultivate new business relationships, and find partners to do real estate deals.
Woohoo! Alrighty. So every time we always ask to have a bring a friend challenge. So who brought friends tonight? That's true. But those of you who have friends, who brought some tonight? Come on, friends. So the reason we do this is we think that real estate education and wealth building knowledge and financial freedom are important, and we think you should be sharing it with your family and friends. So please bring them. Even better, bring your spouse. I think if you're on the same page with your spouse or life partner, you really get the support at home to be successful in this. It can be really challenging if your partner's not on board. So, alrighty, disclaimer. So everything that we talk about here is intended for educational purposes. This is not intended to be any kind of legal tax advice. So any strategies learned here, check with your professionals, tax people, lawyers, real estate agents, etc. That being said, lots of good information here. All right, so this is becoming a regular feature of the Real Estate Roundtable. Jen has been our hostess now for about 6 months, and you guys like her so much that it's become a regular feature. So she's going to give us some social media tips and some mindset tips.
Thank you, Eric. Do I get the clicker? And how do I put my phone in the... Oh, let's test it. Okay, so today we're going to go over social media and how many people live on Facebook. What is Facebook? You guys ever press the live button? The live button? Oh, am I on? So today I want everyone to take out their phones and go on Facebook. One. You're good. No. Everybody on? Everybody see the live button, Colin? You're not doing it. Oh, okay. Cool. So with all my social media tips, I tell people to go live on Facebook. So we're all going to do a live video, okay? What I want you to say, I want you to hit that live button. Everybody see it? It's that red one right there. Go right here and just say, hey, I'm just here having a great time at the Real Estate Roundtable learning about some social media tips. And why do I want you guys to do this? Because when you go to your real estate deals and when you do, partnerships and stuff, people want to know what you're doing. People want to know what's going on in your life. People want to see kind of like the little everyday. And even just 1 minute, 30 seconds of a, Facebook Live is going to put you at the top of the Facebook feed. Okay? And that's where you want to be. So, is everybody ready? Everyone's got their phones out. Let's do this together. Oh, look, we already got someone doing it. Awesome. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go live. So you're going to have this thing right here, and you can hit start live video, and you can choose if you want it to be on you or it could be in the crowd. Okay? It's going to say starting live video. Everyone go, woo! This is us at the Real Estate Roundtable, and we're all learning how to do live video. Is anybody else doing it? Woohoo! Hi! We're doing it. Yeah? You got it? Okay, perfect. And that's all you have to do. You say, hey, I'm here at the Real Estate Roundtable Live, and I'm teaching everybody how to do live video because live video is so important for your real estate business. Letting people know, Lionel did a good one about open houses that he did, and everyone knew exactly where the houses were. I mean, that is a great promotional tool. Whatever you're doing, even if you're just working on stuff, if you're calling people, just do a simple live video of this and, watch your friends and support them. That's all you got to do. Okay, so 2 live videos a week, guys. And just do whatever you're doing in real estate. Show people what you're doing. Tell people your story. And that's my tip for the week. Thank you. Oops, I have too much in my hands. Cool. Don't stand by the screen? Oh, cool. Okay, so we're talking about numbers today, and I just want to do a little mindset about how money is just math. Okay? So today's talk, I'm just going to be saying money is simply just tracking your numbers. That's all it is. And I want everyone to have the mindset that we are already wealthy and rich. We live in a first world country. We live in the 5th largest economy in the United States and the world. And, you always should be worth more alive than dead. And if you want to make more money, just help more people. That's all you have to do. And organization is the key to success. So math is really simple: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And your money is probably doing one of these 4 things, right? And there's some things that we want our money to do, like multiply instead of divide, and we want it addition instead of subtraction, right? But you just got to track it. So it's not working. I'll just do it right here. It's not working. Okay. So life is a game and money is how we really keep score. It's the number one thing that has been tracked since the beginning of mankind. Also, you should be tracking how many people you're helping every day. That's really going to add to the bottom line of your bank account. If you're not really helping people, you're probably not making a lot of money. And having a lot of solutions for people and coming up with solutions and really listening to that one little solution that they need and providing it for them is really going to help everything. Okay, so millionaire habits. Who tracks their numbers daily? Nice. And do you guys track your P&L monthly? Yes, you have to, right? To run a successful business, you have to know the health of the business every month, every day. It's really tracking what you're doing every day. And you should really be forecasting the next 2 to 3 months. Does anybody do that? Yeah, cool. So tracking tools. You can do something really simple like Google Docs. What kind of apps do you guys use for tracking your numbers? QuickBooks, Mint, anything else? Piece of paper. Yeah, a piece of paper and a pen. That's really all you really need, okay? You can get really fancy with apps and stuff, but just tracking your daily spending. So tracking your personal finances is always number 1, and then tracking your business finances is number 2, and tracking your deals. How many phone calls are you making? How many people are you talking to? How many people are you helping every day? Track that, because what you track and what you can measure gets improved, okay? So for hitting our 2019 financial goals, you just got to keep tracking. Math anxiety. This is a real medical condition. Some people say, math gives me really bad anxiety, right? Yeah. So tracking your numbers and just knowing where you are and analyzing deals as like practice before you actually make deals is really going to help ease that anxiety. Sometimes people just need a little bit more practice with their math. The money mindset. Everyone in this room is already rich. We all have a roof over our heads, cars. We can fill up our cars with gas. We really live a wealthy lifestyle. And every day you can get richer. You can help more people achieve what they need to achieve, and they can compensate you for that. So sometimes it's like, California, it's so expensive here because we live in such a great economy. But the more people you help and the more things you do, you can always add to that bottom line. Be worth more alive than dead. What are your thoughts about this? Yeah, okay. Always bringing value to people while you're alive, and that's all I gotta say about that. Okay, so sometimes, everybody wants to make more money, right? So really the best way to make a lot of money is focus on one thing and do it really, really well. And make a list of the 10 world's best people that are doing that one thing and kind of just copy what they're doing. Pick up their habits, see what they're doing, and pick up things that you can do in your life today. And consistently track your progress. Every day, you should know exactly where you stand, and that way you know exactly how you can get better. And maybe even just tracking one thing that you can do better every day to make you more money. The conclusion is success likes organization. Track your numbers. Listen to the story the numbers are telling you, and help more people. So I'm a social media manager. We're doing videos in the back. I coach and manage, and I also have a little Think If It course. You can reach me at jeninsactown@gmail.com, and I do lease purchase options in Sacramento. Thank you so much for your time.
So in addition to her little talk here, Jen does a ton for the Real Estate Roundtable behind the scenes. She helps a lot with our social media, and she really is the face of the organization out in the street. I mean, people much rather look at her than me, so I'm so glad for all the help that she gives us with help putting the group together. So thank you, Jen. So speaking of another fine, handsome individual, let's bring up Randy Just. So Randy Just is going to be our speaker tonight, and he has prepared a presentation on how to analyze real estate deals. So with that being said, I think I'll just let Randy jump right into it, and he can tell you about himself, and we'll get going with his presentation.
All set. Just want to make sure it's mic. Oh, the best place to stand here. A little lower. Hear me? No. Might have to put up a little higher. Get too much feedback. Think so? I don't like the feedback. Okay. Might have to stand out here a little ways. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming out. It still doesn't sound right. Does that sound right, or a lot of feedback? Working on it? Okay. This evening, what I'm going to do, well, first of all, let me tell you a bit about myself here. Yeah, we'll go that direction. I think I'm going to do is actually maybe work over this way here, or in the center. It's always bad. Usually speakers should be in the front. But anyway, a bit about myself. A little over 10 years ago, it's probably about 12 years ago, I started doing flipping of homes. Prior to doing flipping, I actually did become a realtor. Which button do you push on here? Just this way. That one? Okay. I received my real estate license, I say it's probably about 12 years ago, and always been fascinated with flipping. I don't know how many of you watch those shows. They've been around for, gosh, I don't know how many years now. It's been over 10 years since when I started there doing them, and I think there's even more of those shows now. I'm not sure how many are out there, but anyway, I think what happened was one evening, some of you have heard this story before, I am not a heavy drinker. And I think maybe I was on my third beer that evening, one night in front of the TV watching, I don't know what was Flip This House or whatever it was back in the day. And maybe it was 11 o'clock at night or something, and I looked at that show and I said, you know something, this is something I think I can do. And I went out and bought a house the next day. That was the start of me flipping homes. So it wasn't a great deal of thought about it and analysis and whatever. I said, this is something I think I can do. They don't do this any longer, but back in the day, they used to have these, at these hotels, they had these auctions. This is kind of at the height of all the foreclosures and REOs and everything else, and you used to go to a hotel and you basically bid on properties. So I was working during the evening. I wrote a power of attorney up for someone. I sent him down there, and she called me back later that evening and said, guess what? We have a house. So that's how it went down.
You move it down to here.
I'll move it down.
Get down.
Get down. Can we hear or?
Good talk there.
What's that? I think the feedback might get worse. I don't know. Anyway.
We're going to switch to a regular mic.
Oh. Is that better? Yeah, it sounds better. There we go. It's starting to drive me nuts. But anyway, I purchased that home and went ahead and rehabbed it. I'm not going to tell you a story that I made $180,000 or something ridiculous on it. It was probably closer to maybe $6,000 or $7,000. It was not hugely profitable, but it was profitable nevertheless. Got some experience doing that, and I've lost count of how many homes I've done over the last 12 years. I've done a wide variety of projects. Some of them have been just major, major, major fixers. One of my jokes is, you know, when you go into a home and you find realtors' cards that are on the floor because it's such a scary house to even cross the threshold to get in, and there's a stack of cards there, you know that's probably a good investment opportunity. Also, the ones that really smell bad, I just kind of laugh and say, wow, that's the smell of money. You know, most people smell urine and death and see dead rats on the floor and all kind of weird smells, and they, as I say, the mere mortals run from those properties. So that's kind of how it works, you know. You have to have some guts and some vision and a sense of humor, and that's what goes on. But so anyway, how this presentation is going to work this morning, I have a PowerPoint presentation. We'll go through the slides. As we go through them, feel free to ask questions. There's several points that are going to be covered. And then finally, at the end, I'll be bringing up a spreadsheet where we can do essentially analysis of a property. It's going to tie in what you see in that spreadsheet, in the PowerPoint slide, what it's all brings it together, the different points and so forth. I'm going to go into quite a bit of detail. One of the things I've discovered in this business is a lot of folks they get very excited, they get very hyped, they don't do their homework before they go ahead and, one, purchase the property, and two, once they're involved with the renovation or repairs that they're doing, they just don't spend a lot of time on research. And I may say this again later this evening, but this business is about you make your money when you buy the property. Okay, I'm going to stress that. You make your money when you buy the property, because if you pay too much for it at the beginning, the rest of it you're going to be doing an uphill battle the whole time. And that's just how it works. So what you're trying to do here is you get the property. I assume you shouldn't get it, but you do your analysis on the property before you purchase it. What I'm going to talk about this evening is part of your analysis to do that before you purchase the property. So essentially you can spot a bad deal before it happens. Because my deals that were not very profitable, it's because I didn't follow the fundamentals. And that's what this evening is about, is fundamentals. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started here. Okay. This kind of lays it out right here as far as the profitability of a project that you may do. It's pretty simple. You have the sales price and business. When I first started, I couldn't tell you what the hell an ARV was. It didn't matter to me. It's just that's the price ultimately that the property is going to sell for. But the buzzword in this business is ARV, after repair value or after restoration value or after renovation value, call whatever you want to call it. But that's what you start with. So that's the big number at the top, and then you work your way down, subtract out the purchase price, subtract out your repair and renovation costs, your holding time and costs, your selling costs, and ultimately you end up with the profit on the deal. And that's it in a nutshell right there. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through each of these components and talk about them in more detail. Okay, the sales price. Some important points here. Be realistic versus optimistic, okay? Sometimes folks get so excited about the deal and it's skinny, and then they start fooling themselves. I know you do, Ryan. That gentleman over there, Mr. Ryan, is the skinny deal master. What may not work for you as a flipper may work for that gentleman over there. But anyway, realistic versus optimistic. You can sit there and convince yourself all day long that you're going to make money, and only if I have to hold it longer. Well, only if I cut back on my tile cost. Only if I cut back on my flooring cost. And you start convincing yourself. Don't do that. You'll shoot yourself in the foot. So once again, I go back to the statement, be realistic versus optimistic. Now, as far as determining a sales price ultimately that the property will sell for, this is a very, very important part here. My background, I'm like a data geek, okay? That's my world. So I'm real big on analysis. If you're not strong in that area, you may need some assistance, because if you're up there printing a number that you think that property is going to sell for and it's unrealistic, once again, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. It's going to have the same effect as you paying too much for the property, okay? The idea is to get a realistic sales price and as low as purchase price of property. That's going to get you the maximum profit on that particular transaction. So let's talk about that a little bit here. Data points. When I'm referring to data points, these are all the data points that support that sales price that you're going to sell that property for. And Zillow, MLS, some of the title companies have applications. They will give you the application typically for free. First American Title, Old Republic Title. You get a login and password. You punch it in there and you can pull up tax records and all kinds of information. Sometimes you can pull up comparable sales in their application. All these things can be found with those applications. Are available for free. Also, you can talk to realtors. Sometimes they will have a better educated valuation where you may look at your data set and you review it and you come up with a number, and it's sometimes helpful to have another set of eyes look at that as far as that calculation goes on the price. So this is one of the most important parts of what you're doing, because when we get to the spreadsheet, you're going to see that number in there like, well, what can I sell this for? Okay. Active versus pending versus sold. Okay, of these three, which one do you think is going to be the most valuable information for what we're doing? Sold, okay? Think about sold. Sold is looking in the rearview mirror. Actives are looking through the windshield. And depending on market conditions, here a year ago, actually you'd be looking at a higher price point looking through the windshield than you would be looking through the rearview mirrors. Everyone get that? Well, things are changing a little bit. I'd say at this point in time, looking through the windshield is going to give you a lower price than what that sold was. That's just where market conditions are going. Now, pending, as a real estate agent, what I do with pendings, I actually call those agents up. Now, I don't know about you folks that don't have a real estate license. Maybe you need to talk to an agent and work with an agent, but I actually call those pendings up. And one of the questions I ask the agent is, how many offers did you have? You know, what happened? Is it over asking? Is it below asking? Because that one is really, pendings are kind of the heartbeat, what is actually currently happening in the marketplace. And it tells you what's going on. Because as an agent, if I see a price of $265 on a property, and they say I had 5 offers, and then you ask, well, were they above asking? No, everyone was below asking. Well, that's going to give you some idea what's happening in that front. So once again, this is another data point that you use for your calculation of the sales price. So, and this one here, I have put this, I'm explaining this for a bit here. Put your property in the analysis band. And when I refer to band, meaning you need to match like property with like data points. Okay, it's going to be a band there. For example, if you have an 1,100 square foot house, it's reasonable that you'd be looking for homes maybe in that 1,000 to 1,200 square foot band. It really doesn't make sense to be looking at 2,500 square foot houses because they're really not a comparable to your 1,100 square foot house. So identify the band. And then within that band, you have a certain number of bathrooms, you have a certain number of bedrooms. So you want to find as close or comparable as possible to the property that you're rehabbing. And that's going to help you tremendously working in that there, okay? And then the other thing here, match photos to your real finished product, okay? In my case, the homes that I do, they're typically the best of the best. So what I do when I'm figuring out what my sales price is for my properties that I do, I go up on the MLS and I really look at the photos. And I spend a great deal of time looking at those photos saying, I'm going to match that, I'm going to beat that, or it's not going to be good as. And I'm going to have to make some price adjustments for what I do based on those photos. So if you don't think you're going to be doing as good as a job as what's in those photos, guess what? You're probably not going to get the same price as that one you're trying to do comparable against. So that's part of the analysis of pulling all that together. And I rely on photos pretty heavily when I do that as far as looking. And I may even get in the car, drive by some of those other properties. I also, even though it's sold, I will sometimes call the agent up that has it listed and said, how many offers did you have? What kind of activity was there on there? Okay. Another identifier in the MLS is also how many days it was on the market. Did it sell very quickly? Did they have to wait a long time? Now, if a home sold very quickly, that actually tells you a couple things. One, it could have been a premium home that was rehabbed very, very well. But what else could it tell you if it was sold very quickly? It was priced right, or maybe it was priced too low. So there's that possibility too, that it could have undersold. So that's something to keep in mind when you're coming up with these numbers. Do you have any questions so far? No? Yes, sir.
Matching from the photos from the MLS of other houses, do you focus mainly on the inside or both the inside and outside? Because I mean, like in terms of landscaping, if you redo the siding or you just paint it or you replace the windows or
That's a very good question. It brings in a very important point, at least for as far as my flips go. I spend a minimal amount of money on landscaping. Okay, so if I find a photo on there of this beautiful landscaped yard that is very mature landscaping that's taken years to reach that level, it is unlikely I'm going to be able to duplicate that. So I'm going to have to discount my property accordingly because my landscaping is not going to be as nice. But I do look at the exterior photos and I look at the interior photos as well. So that's as far as matching. But landscaping, just a point of reference, I make the backyard as clean as possible. I knock down weeds, clean it up, trim down trees, that sort of activity. The front yard, I may put a couple plants in there, some color, introduce some color and so forth. But I don't spend a lot of money on landscaping. Usually it's a loss for me. I throw $1 out there and I might get 50 cents or 75 cents back from that dollar. And that's what this is about. You throw $1 out there, how much are you going to get back? Are you going to get $1 back? You're going to get $1.25 back? You're going to get $2 back? You're going to get $3 back? Whatever. That's what it's about when you do these flips. So, extrapolation only works in the band. And when I talk about extrapolation, some realtors, they're not big on this number. I personally am, and that's price per square foot. Okay? That's how I'm able to match. And when I talk about extrapolation, I have my band, 1,100 to 1,300 square foot houses, or 1,000 to 1,200 square foot. I look at the premium house in there. Then I start looking at the price per square foot what those homes sold for. Then I take that number, and my home that I'm selling and rehabbing, I'll take that price per square foot, and I will multiply it by the square footage of my home. And I will collect data points of that price per square foot. I may even, if there's 5 homes, I may take all 5 of those and do an average of those price points of price per square foot. Then I multiply that by the square footage of my home. Okay? Now, sometimes there may be one that has a really high price per square foot, and you kind of have to throw that data point out sometimes. Because there might have been some kind of special sale, maybe sold to another family member. There might have been some special circumstances for that. Now, as a realtor in the MLS, we do have notes in there about the sale of the property, and maybe sometimes that will give some kind of indication what exactly happened, why it sold for that price. And then it also goes the other direction. If there's something that was a low price per square foot, that could have been special circumstances as well. So you're really looking for a cluster of data points in order to get that price per square foot, which you'll multiply times your square footage on the home that you're selling. Okay. Questions on that concept? No? Okay. Then we have effective age versus real age. Okay. You may move into a neighborhood of older homes. Let's say the homes are built in the 40s. And you go through and do a massive renovation of that home. It is possible when this home is sold, an appraiser may actually look at homes outside that neighborhood for homes that are newer. In other words, you can essentially take a 1940s home and make it a year 2000 home just by the upgrades that you do to it. So you can look outside the immediate neighborhood to come up with the pricing for that property as far as the calculations go, right? So, does everyone get that? It happens every now and then. Sometimes we focus a lot specifically in that neighborhood, and sometimes we have to reach outside that neighborhood in order to come up with an effective value for that house. So, and you know, the one thing about flipping houses, it brings together a lot of skill sets, okay? I know on TV, they make it look like easy peasy, it's all done and over within 30 minutes, and they splash a number up there on the TV, and you go, oh, wow, those guys made all kinds of money on it. Well, you got everything from the negotiation, the purchase price, understanding the financing, understanding the appraisal, understanding the renovation, working with people that are actually working on the property. All these skill sets are going on. So you have to come to the table with a pretty good collection of skill sets, or you have to find people that are going to help you out in that respect. So, all right. Each incremental square foot can be worth less. Okay, let's talk about extrapolation here for a moment again. 1,000 to 1,200 square foot house. Then I look in that band and say, wow, some of these homes sold for $300 a foot. Now my particular home is 2,500 square foot. I'm not going to be able to take my $300 per square foot and multiply by 2,500 thinking I'm going to come up with some crazy value. It's going to be overpriced for the neighborhood. And so that's why you want to work in a band. If I'm doing a 2,500 square foot house, I'm probably going to be looking for homes that are probably somewhere between maybe 2,200 and maybe 2,700 square foot. So I'm creating that band of comparable sales. And I'm going to look at those prices per square foot. And as the price per square foot of the home goes up, as a general rule, as the square footage of the home goes up, the price per square foot actually starts dropping. Make sense? So if you have a 20,000 square foot house, it's not going to get the same price per square foot as a 1,000 square foot house. So you have to understand all these dynamics when you're putting all this together. And then the other thing is, if you're in a particular neighborhood and you see the top price of a home in that neighborhood, it is unlikely that you're going to create a home that's going to sell for that top one, regardless of what you do to that home. So, yes, sir. Why, well, if it's a long-term hold, or in what reference, Brian?
Wholesale.
Wholesale? Why is that important?
Yeah, why should we know this if we're wholesaling?
Well, if you're wholesaling and you're trying to sell to a guy like me that actually has experience, you're not going to have a very effective presentation to me. In other words, I will say that you're trying to BS me, and you don't know what the hell you're doing. That's why this information, you're actually not flipping a home, but you're selling as a wholesaler. You also need to be realistic, not optimistic. Because I personally, I will fluff you out of the bushes right away, meaning you don't know what you're doing. You're providing me inaccurate information, and then depending on what I'm doing, I was like, I'm too busy to sit there and research this property. I'm just going to move on to my day and do something else, as opposed to even dealing with the person that's trying to sell it to me. And they said, well, have you looked at it yet? And I said, yeah, I looked at your first number. It was stupid. Well, I mean, we're all busy people, and you're as a wholesaler, your money is made by selling that property to someone like me. And if I see numbers are ARV's high, repair values low, and it's like, come on. I saw one come across, and the numbers were so chaotic. He was trying. It was over, I think, in the Fab 40s area. The purchase price was like I don't know, 400,000 or something, and it was going to be selling for 1.2 or 1.4 million. Then they're going to add square footage, and then they're sending me all kinds of photos of these beautiful homes that, like, oh well, you can make it like this. And I'm looking at this like, you're trying to extract $400,000 out of my pocketbook, and you've got this chaotic presentation that I can make no sense out of. And then he had an ARV of $25,000 on there. And, you know, my experience is if something built in the 40s or the 30s or the 20s, if you want to, other than maybe throwing some quick paint on it, $25,000 will go away in the blink of an eye. As I say, when it comes to renovating a home, I sneeze and I spend $10,000 on something. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think I had one home last year that actually was in that $25,000 range. Everything else is usually $50,000 plus, just right from the get-go. 50K, boom. I mean, that's what it takes to put something together and make it look nice. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, I was going to just segue on that to wholesalers, all you wholesalers out there. Make sure your numbers are accurate. Prices are going up. Granite is more expensive than it was 6 months ago. Cabinets are more expensive. When you do your estimated values or your estimated repair costs, they're going up. So you have to be realistic. Because I'm the same way. If I get a wholesale deal, I look at it, and the numbers are unrealistic, I'm not going to continue to look at these deals because it's a waste of time. And,
Well,
and prices are going up for remodels.
Well, the prices too, I think I can't remember which material it was gutters. I just had a quote here for a 1,200 square foot house, and I have not spent more than $2,000 ever on gutters. It's usually around $1,200, $1,300 on a 1,200 square foot house. And then I had this first quote that came along, it was like $2,500 or $2,600, and I looked and I said, man, what is this guy trying to do? And then I got another quote, and I think it was around $2,200. So that's telling me, and I think they were telling me the price of the material has gone up 4 times in 1 month or something. So there are things that are happening out there in the marketplace. And I guess I come back to this $25,000. Geez, I just mentioned $2,500 for gutters. It just evaporated, what, 10% of that budget just for gutters alone. Never mind the roof and all the other things. So anyway, as a wholesaler, if you don't know the numbers, then don't bullshit me, okay? Just say, I don't know, and leave it at that. Because experienced folks that do this for a living, they would rather you be humble and say you don't know than try to provide some information because you'll make a fool of yourself. Yes?
The average lot size is 10,000 square feet. And say you have like a 15,000 square foot lot, how do you approach that with how much value that adds to the...
Mike's funny. Anyway, the base size lot... Anyway, there it goes. Anyway, you have your base size lot in a neighborhood. If all the lots in that neighborhood are a similar size, you'll get some premium price for that home that has a larger lot. And I'm talking generalities here. This isn't like, oh, exactly this is going to happen every time. However, the first, let's just say the first 8,000 square feet is on a price per square foot of the land, of the dirt, is going to be the most valuable. And each incremental square foot that's added to the land actually decreases in value. It's just like when you start thinking like, well, it was 40 acres versus 80 acres. Big difference, but those additional 40 acres are typically going to be priced less than the first 40 acres. And that's just how it goes. It's like a declining value as it gets larger and larger and larger. And that's just how it works. So I know homeowners, when they're selling properties, they get very excited. Well, mine's the biggest lot in the whole neighborhood. And you know the land is worth, any lot in this neighborhood, there's an infill one over there, it's the standard size, and it's $90,000, and mine's double that lot size, so mine should be $180,000. Probably not. Probably not. So that's just how the mechanics work of the math. So, and then adjust sales price to market conditions. And I believe it was one of these meetings I made that comment earlier. Right now, I go through, do all my calculations for ARV. I figure what my hold time is going to be for that property, how many days am I out, and I'm going to make a price adjustment downwards to reflect a declining market. And I'm probably going to make an adjustment of anywhere from maybe 5 to 10% off that price, just so I protect my butt in case something happens, market condition. And right now, there's some softness in the marketplace. So I want to have some flexibility as far as making price adjustments to that property so I can sell it. Okay. Questions? All right. Then we have the purchase price, acquisition price, plus the closing costs, plus the fees, loan points, assignment fees, plus inspections equals your actual total purchase price for the property. And I've gone through all these points here because you're going to see them on the spreadsheet and where they belong. So you're doing all your homework to fill in the blanks on the spreadsheet to ultimately come up with your calculations. So if you understand each of the data points and what goes into the cells, then you should end up with a fairly good estimate of what's going to happen when you actually do sell that property, if you do acquire it. So the reason I put all these up there is because, like inspections, somebody forgets about that. Well, that's actually part of your acquisition cost. Now, a property that's located on city water and city sewer, probably no big deal, but some of the big expense items out there as far as inspections go deal with wells and septic systems. In between, some properties have more than one septic system, some of them have more than one well on there, and you can quite literally spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars just on those inspections alone. And so you need to add those into your purchase price. Granted, you're doing that before you purchase the property, but it's part of the cost. Okay? Is everyone clear on that? And I've had some properties where I haven't done septic inspections, and as a general rule, I will do those for country properties and properties in town and so forth. So, yes, sir. It depends on the structure of the deal. 3 to 5 might be kind of high, and it could be low, just depending on circumstances. And when you say closing costs, you're talking from the title, or you're talking about obtaining financing? Yeah, title, that might be a little high. One little tidbit for you folks. You can reduce some of your title costs when you go to sell the property if you obtain something called a binder from the title company. Okay? Does everyone know what a binder is? I see a few hands. So when you purchase the property, you tell the title company, I like to have a binder, and this is for the title insurance. So what will happen is the title company will charge you an additional amount for the title insurance. But as long as you use that same title company to sell the property, your title insurance fee is going to drop dramatically. Instead of spending $500, $600, $800, $900, whatever it might be, $100 or something on the resale of the property. So that allows you to negotiate with the buyer saying, you know something, instead of us doing 50-50, which is pretty customary, I will pay 100% of the title insurance, and you pay 100% of the escrow. So now you make them bear the escrow cost. You pay the $100 for the title insurance. Buyer thinks they're getting a great deal because, oh, wow, he paid for all the title insurance. Well, it's because you front-loaded it from the deal when you purchased it. And I probably saved hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars that way on my transactions. So that's just something to keep in mind. And one thing, though, to keep in mind, here in the state of California, if the buyer spends $1 on, I can't remember if it's the title insurance or the escrow fee, they get to be in charge of the transaction as far as selection of the title company. All right, how many of you are aware of that? I see a couple people. I'm sorry, is it title insurance? Title, okay. Yeah, if the buyer contributes just a single dollar, and the thing is, they can come back and squawk later, and I think they can sue for 3 times the amount. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm actually surprised that there have been some attorneys out there, some realtors that start doing like some crazy lawsuits and stacking them all up. Yeah, if the seller, because this business is funny because realtors try to push title, they push title, and here in the state of California, they really shouldn't be doing that because the buyer, if they contribute a single dollar, then they get the choice. But the realtor, the agent usually directs them. It's a non-issue, but it's in the print there. It can cause a problem. So, loan points, assignment fees, you need to add all that up. So that's coming up with that number, and purchase price you'll see when we get to the spreadsheet component. So, repair and renovation. You're going to see a number of line items on that spreadsheet when I present it. We have determined the scope of the project. How much are you doing? Is this, you're going in there just painting and floor covering and so forth? Or you're doing something more extensive? Permits. As a general rule, if legally, if you do anything past flooring and painting, there's typically a permit involved. If you look at it, even changing out an electrical outlet, you'll see that essentially you need to go get a permit. That's what they say. Now, some of it's a little, excessive, but there's something to keep in mind. And I've been in this business long enough. I'm a big proponent of pulling permits. Okay, that's where I'm going to stand. Don't try to do this, Saturday evening or at night type stuff, and avoid the inspector driving around town and seeing them flip and. Like, oh, I don't want them to see that because I'm going to get stuck. Because there are some communities that will jam you severely. And I used to live in one of those communities, and that was Lodi. How many of you ever pulled a permit in Lodi? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what can happen in Lodi. You're not going to like this, and this is why you pull permits. Let's just say you don't pull the permit, but the permit should have been $1,000. And if you really piss off the city of Lodi, they can come back and charge you up to 9 times what the original permit should have been. 9 times. So you've just gone from $1,000 to $9,000 for that permit. Yeah, $8,000 pissed away into the wind just because you didn't want to pull a permit. So if you want to be in the business over the long haul, you pull permits. I'm a realtor. I pull permits. You can say with a smile on your face when the buyer says, oh, did you pull permits? Absolutely. Go down to the county or go down to the city and look at the permits. And actually, in the overall scheme of things, permits are not that expensive. I mean, you'd be surprised. Now, there's a little bit of skill as far as writing the permit and how you put it. There's something called an all-encompassing permit, as opposed to you pulling a whole bunch of permits, one for the roof, one for the HVAC. You can do it that way too, but generally it's going to be cheaper by you grouping them all together. An all-encompassing permit. So, permits, they control tax records too. And when I say that, meaning, oh, I'm just going to add another bathroom in this house. So you add the bathroom and you haven't pulled a permit. Then you go try to sell the house, and then the agent, if you have it listed, they'll say, well, it says it's only a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. Well, no, there's a second bathroom right there. Well, did you pull permits? No. If you pull the permits, then what's going to happen is on the county tax records, that second bathroom is going to show up. So that's going to maximize your value. Okay, it's going to make it much easier for you. Also, as far as square footage, an unpermitted room. When I buy a property, I'm only going to be paying for what's on the tax records as far as square foot goes. I'm going to discount any addition to that house that doesn't fall in the tax records. But to do that, you pull the permit. That's how you're going to get your maximum value. Questions with all that? Yes, sir.
Two questions. If you buy something that's not permitted, are you going to go back and permit it so you can sell it as what it really is? First, and then number two, when you're pulling permits for yourself, are you doing it as owner builder or are you pulling it as a general?
Okay, 2 great questions. Depending on the extent of the addition or whatever was done, you have to look at it and say, how much money is it going to cost me to bring this to life So I could pull a permit and have it included in the square footage of where it's going to happen. Meaning if it's substandard construction, you may very well be better off removing it. Okay? It's about a cost issue. Now the other concern, because what's going to happen is you're going to go down to the permit counter at the county or the city or whatever, and there's going to be all these little boxes on there, and they say, well, are you working with a general contractor? And then they want their license number and all this, or are you owner builder? And this is the part there, I haven't been bust on this. I pull owner builder permits. The general contractor, I run my subs underneath me, and they have all kinds of things about the workers needing to be licensed and so forth. They're more like warnings. But one of the things they say in owner builder is you have to, you can't sell this house within a year. That's kind of their big, the little thing in there, and you're going, oh no. And my experience is multiple communities, I never had a problem. But someone could say something, well, you've had this house less than a year. How come you're selling it? But it does bring them tax revenue. I think they turn a blind eye towards that. A lot of times I'm fixing up a property that's an eyesore in a neighborhood. They also want that to happen. So in some ways it's counterintuitive that they're trying to penalize people for actually improving the neighborhoods and bringing tax revenue into their coffers. So, it's possible someone could say something one day and squawk and so forth. But yes, Eric.
I just wanted to make a comment too. If you're owner builder, the one thing you got to be careful about is the labor that you contribute to a job as an owner builder. It's hard to document on your taxes, so you can't raise your tax basis by the sweat equity that you put into a project. It's got to be billable hours to somebody else. So one strategy that I talk about is if you own a corporation like I do, my corporation doesn't work and then I bill myself back for it. So be careful about that on your taxes.
One other quick comment about the permits, and this has to do with the holding times. I might mention this a little later, but when you walk up to that counter, to when you do pull the permit, there's essentially a fork in the road. Okay? There's to the left and there's to the right. Okay? To the left is what's called an OTC permit. That's what I call it. It's over-the-counter permit. You give them the information, you write the check, you walk out of the permit. So you're at 0 days. The other path is what's called plan check. And when you go into plan check, it can be plan check hell, meaning your project could be tied up for weeks, months. Okay? And so this is where there's some skill in writing a permit, because if you write something on that permit, it can trigger plan check. And plan check is typically a minimum of 2 weeks. And this is assuming that your permit's approved in 2 weeks, because they can come back and say you need to make some additional changes. And then it might be another 2 weeks. So this is a dance that can go on for quite some time with plan check. Okay? Does everybody understand there's a distinction between the two? So typically your simpler rehabs are going to be just over-the-counter permits. But once again, there's some skill in writing. In my personal experience, I act like the country bumpkin. I don't know what to tell you. I don't come in there with the attitude. I just go, oh, wow, what? I didn't know that. You just, this feeling of innocence and please help me. I don't know what I'm doing. Please help me out here. I've had the most problems when I have fancy, draftsperson plans and everything else. That's usually when I get myself into trouble. When I have the handwritten stuff, I end up usually having better results with handwritten things. That's my experience at least. So, and materials, cost, labor, those are pretty straightforward on your repair and renovation. Buying a job versus writing checks. I know some people do rehabs. Essentially, they buy themselves a job. Instead of hiring someone out, they're doing the work themselves, and they're going to get whatever hourly rate they get by doing the work themselves. So I do some of the work myself, some of it I enjoy. I could have someone else, but I'd like to put a little more money in my pocket too. So that's kind of how that rolls out. So, and then miscellaneous line item, make sure on your sheet, and you'll see on my spreadsheet there, miscellaneous. It covers a variety of things. And then finally, the last one I have is errors, omissions, and whoops, okay? And I put 5 to 15% up there. In other words, when your total renovation costs are, add another 5 to 15% on top of that. Okay, it's just a number. Yes, sir. There's the question is there a general database? I have seen some databases on there when I do searches on Google, different parts of the country. It depends on what zone they are, and they actually do give you, like, if you know the roof, how many squares and that, they'll give you a general cost, what those items are. So if you're new at this, I would suggest that you try that, like flooring, painting, some simple things. Now, some of the projects like dry rot repair and stuff, they're not really gonna be able to give you that information from a national database standpoint, but that information is out there. So that could help in your calculations. Questions? No? Doing okay? All right. And Eric, where are we sitting time-wise? Or someone with a watch? 7:50? Okay. Just trying to stay on track time-wise.
Oh, question. Sorry.
Yes.
So based on your experience, like if you have to estimate a flooring cost, so how do you, typical, just an approximate per square foot?
Well, flooring costs rather interesting.
Okay.
I seem to be getting a rash of mid-40s and 30s homes, so I'm actually refinishing hardwood floors. And they actually cost me more to refinish the floors than it would be to rip them out and put whatever material is out there. And as you can appreciate in the marketplace right now, there are tons of different flooring materials, everything from the vinyl to the laminate to the carpet to, gosh, I don't know, bamboo to tile to, it just goes on and on and on.
So laminate, for example.
I'm sorry?
Laminate, for example.
Laminate, you know, right now you can get a nice, good quality laminate flooring probably in the $2 to $3 a foot range. Sometimes it drops a little bit below $2. But one thing to keep in mind is you may get laminate flooring for $1 a foot. Labor-wise, it costs almost the same as for the cheap stuff versus the more expensive stuff to put it in. And sometimes the cheap stuff maybe doesn't have a pad on the back of it, or it doesn't lock together nicely. So sometimes you penny wise and pound foolish. But when it comes to, like, for example, right now I'm doing this 1,200 square foot house. If you subtract out the couple bathrooms and the kitchen, I'm probably allocating about $4,000 for my flooring costs to refinish a hardwood floor. Now, from a laminate standpoint, I probably could be closing in maybe 25% or 30% off that price on the flooring. So it depends on your labor costs. And some of the flooring guys, we'll just talk about numbers here real quickly. Some of these guys that give me quotes, I sit there, this is what I do, because my background, I actually hold an accounting degree. So I'm always taking the numbers and I extrapolate out from a labor cost standpoint, how long these people are actually charging me for. And some of these guys charge, you know, okay, it was $4,000 to put this floor in. I say, great, how long is it gonna take you? Oh, about a week and a half or something. So I can sit there and calculate, okay, well, that's 40 hours a week and da-da-da. This guy's making $180 an hour putting my flooring in. I mean, how many of you ever figured that out? You worked the numbers backwards and you're just like, $180 an hour to put flooring in? It's like, you know, and I don't want to pick on people in the trades. There's some people who are very, very skilled and they're you know, charge me a fair price. But I think sometimes their price depends on if it's Wednesday or if it's Friday or if it's the 3rd of the month or their truck payment's due or their mortgage payment is due. There's a lot of variables in their life when they come up with their quotes because, oh, geez, I don't have enough money this month. Well, I'm going to charge this guy a whole bunch more for this particular flooring job than I would have charged him 2 weeks ago for the same flooring job. And I actually had something like that happen today. I had a drywall guy give me a quote a couple weeks ago, $1,600. Guy comes back over, I pulled a few pieces of drywall off the ceiling, now the quote's $3,600. I'm like, what the hell? How did it go from $1,600 to I think it was $3,700? I don't get it. Then he's telling me it's going to take, this 1,200 square foot house, it's going to take 3 guys 10 days to do the drywall in this house. So I extrapolated that out, just kind of figuring out, essentially, this would be the same as one guy taking 6 weeks to put the drywall and the texture in this house. It's a 1,200 some square foot house, and there's already some drywall in there, so they're actually adding some pieces to what's already there. So it's like 6 weeks. That's like 40 hours a week, somebody there from 8:30 till 5, I'm sorry. It's just like it doesn't mentally add up, because maybe it'll take one guy to do the job in 3 weeks. So that's why I know I'm getting gouged, and guess what? You're not going to get my business. So sometimes you just have to use a little common sense and figure it out. And if you get a couple, 3 quotes, you start seeing data points, and there's one that's way out here, and you're like, what? Obviously, this guy doesn't want the work, doesn't like me, or he needs to pay some bills. So, all right. Holding time. This is basically the timeline here. Day 0 is when the escrow closes at the title company. So that's you at the starting line. Then we go back here, permits, we talked about that, 0 days to weeks. So you have those number of days in there. Repair and renovation time, how long is it gonna take to fix it? Time on market, let's talk about this a bit. Time on market means how quickly the home's gonna sell, okay? I'd say right now in this marketplace, you probably should allow 60 days on the market at least, okay? Okay, that's the number I'd use. So I'd say 60 days plus the escrow time. The escrow time starts after your offer is accepted after the 60 days. Then you're going to have an escrow time that could vary anywhere from maybe 20 to 45 days. So 60 plus 20 to 45 days. Then we have a failed escrow. That sometimes happens too. They do inspections. All of a sudden they go over there and they don't like the neighborhood any longer. All kinds of weird. They don't like the neighbors. People do weird things. Sometimes they'll back out of an escrow. Then you reset yourself back to being on the market again and trying to get an offer. So looking at that, you can guess it can take quite some time as far as that goes. And this is important because this is part of your holding costs on the property. Okay? Now for myself, some realtors agree with this. Some realtors disagree with this technique that I use. I try to pre-sell my properties. Okay, I'm a big proponent of pre-selling properties, meaning I'm doing work on them. I will post them on Facebook. I'll post them on Craigslist. And I'll say, I got this project. Here's a house, blah, 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 blah. And I'd say my average is about 50% of my homes pre-sold before they're completed. Okay? So what is the benefit of me doing that? Yeah, I cut down on the last part as far as my total holding time, meaning if I find the right buyer for that house, this is how it works. With me, within 3 days or so of me putting the last screw or the last nail in the house or whatever, I'm closing on the property. So by me pre-selling, I can actually essentially overlap the escrow with my renovation time. Do we catch on to that? They're going to overlap each other, okay? And how this works from a loan standpoint is that I will pre-sell, and buyer comes along and they say, fantastic. And I give them a punch list of everything I'm going to complete on the home. This is what's going to happen in the future and what's going to be done to this home. They're working with their lender. I say, please, let's have the appraiser come out. And you're like, well, the home's not done. How can the appraiser come out? Because I will meet the appraiser at the property. I will stand there with my punch list of everything that's going to be done in the home. I also have a list of all the other properties that I've rehabbed. And I will present that to the appraiser. Then the appraiser goes back to their office and they say, oh, wow, here's a home that has granite. Oh, here's a home that has new HVAC. Here's a home that has a new roof on it. And they will come up with a value for that future completed home. With me so far on that? And another benefit of doing that is in the event that the appraisal is short, which means it doesn't appraise the value, I can make some adjustments to the property to accommodate that, to maybe put some money back in my pocket as opposed to me just having to lower the price because the appraiser said it's worth less. So then what happens is the appraiser makes a second trip to the property. I give the appraiser a call. I said, I'm going to be done with this house next Wednesday. Please come look at it. Appraiser comes out there, verifies what's on the punch list, submits that to the lender. We close 2-3 days after that happens. So I can cut down my hold time, which right now in this marketplace, if we're declining, that could actually put a few more $1,000s in your pocket. So questions on that? No? Oh, you like that, Ryan, huh? Well, And then holding costs. Here's a variety of just costs when you figure out what your expenses are. Every day that ticks by, there's additional costs there. We have the interest on the loans, the utilities. Up there in Yuba City, I think even Marysville, this is one that I just irritates the hell out of me. People don't turn their trash service off. They move out of the property. I get charged as a lien on the property tax bill for trash, even though I've never had a single trash pickup the whole time I've owned the house. But anyway, property taxes, alarm system, HOA fees, vandalism, eviction of squatters, these are all the things that can come up from a holding cost standpoint. So, you good with that? Yes, sir.
Also, if you stage your properties, that can get expensive. Staging, the initial staging is usually about 6 weeks. The whole time is going to 60 days. It's another $500 to $600 a month that you know when you keep the staging in the house. So I always take in consideration on that.
Well, I would too, but and this ties back to my comment about trying to pre-sell the property. Because I pre-sell the property, I've just bypassed the whole staging thing. And also, the other thing that happens is by pre-selling is I don't have the risk of a vacant house being broken into and damage being done to the property. So I have to go through and redo things that I've already done to the home. So that's something to keep in mind too. Even though, oh wow, if I hold down, I'm going to get another $5,000 or something. You know, just things to consider when you're doing these flips. Yes. I'm sorry?
How soon into the thank you. How soon into the property are you starting to advertise it for pre-sale into the project?
Sometimes very quickly after I purchased it. If I have an idea what I'm going to do to this property and I can provide a definitive punch list, that's very important. If I know exactly what I'm going to do to the property, then why not start marketing right away? Now, people are going to come there and look at the property and some are going to go, I have no vision, I'll wait until you complete the project further. But then sometimes you have buyers in the marketplace, they've already put 10 offers on other homes, they keep getting beat out, and they're frustrated. And they're so frustrated that they say, oh my gosh, I'm not competing against another buyer on this property, and I'm going to get what I want, and everything's going to be new, and everything's going to be wonderful, and you can do that. And I've actually had, up until recently, had 100% success doing that. I mean, I've never had anyone back out, but here recently I had a deal fall apart where the lady started getting demanding. Well, I want this way, and I want that way. And here's the catch. When you're doing a pre-sale, is that in the event that escrow falls apart, you have to be able to still sell the home to someone else. So it's difficult to make it highly customized for that particular buyer because it's not necessarily going to fit into the zone in the marketplace of 80% of the buyers wanting that home still. If they start wanting pink or I don't know, weird colors in there, red tile, you know, weird colors, then it becomes their home, not your home. And I suppose you can get around that by a very high non-refundable deposit or something like that, you know, kind of keep their feet to the fire. But that's the kind of one of those things that you kind of have to watch out for. And I just had a gut little feeling about this lady. She wanted to redesign the laundry room, and what she wanted to do to it was not very efficient from a space standpoint. And I just had this feeling that all of a sudden she's going to want the kitchen and then the bathroom, and because I really haven't gotten to those like more personal areas that people like changed. And so it's like, you know, sorry, didn't work out. Go on your way. So. Selling costs, talked a bit about the staging, marketing costs, Facebook, Craigslist, real estate sales commissions, cleaning, staging, seller concessions, title closing costs. Add all those up, and that's going to be your selling costs. So that's another line item that you're going to see in the spreadsheet as far as the sale of the property is concerned. Okay. I'm sorry? Absolutely. I'll speak to seller concessions. Here a few months ago, sellers weren't really giving away things, okay? Seller concessions could be a variety of things. For example, my homes I rehab, I don't put ceiling fans in them. So somebody can come in there and say, oh, I love the house, but, oh, you don't have ceiling fans. So ceiling fans are relatively cheap, okay? Sometimes it's just acknowledging people, validating them, and giving them something of value. And ceiling fans in their brain are probably worth more than they are worth to me. But it allows me to give something to them. Okay? Seller concessions can also be something monetary. such as I will give you 3% of the sales price of the property for recurring and non-recurring closing costs, for example. And what the buyer does with that is up to them. They could be using those for closing costs such as title or escrow. Another thing that can be done, sometimes you can place someone in a more expensive property than what their pre-approval letter's for. And you're looking at me, well, how can they do that? Meaning I might have someone that's pre-approved for $225,000. The house is $250,000. There's no way in hell I'm going to drop it 25 grand. But how can I get that person in the house? I can do seller concessions. They can take that money and they can actually do an interest rate buy down. So they buy the interest rate down. Now they can actually afford more house than they really can afford. Okay, their payment will be the same. That's really the message here. So sometimes you have to be creative as far as getting someone into the home. And that's one way to do it. So, and sometimes if you feel that your property is actually worth more than what you're selling it for, you can add the seller concessions to the price of the property. So instead of $250,000, you do it $255,000 and you give them $5,000 back. Then they use that to do the rate buy down, they get into the house. So there's some clever things you can do out there with seller concessions. Address your question? Okay. Before we move to the next slide, questions? All right. And then finally we get to the profit stage here. Set aside 40% for taxes. Okay. Just set money aside for taxes. You know you're going to have to pay it. So between the state of California and the feds. My next question is, have you set up a self-directed IRA? Okay. The reason I mention a self-directed IRA is because you can offset some of that tax burden by funding a retirement account. And I won't go through all the benefits of a retirement account that's self-directed, but you can do hard money loans with it, and you can also buy real estate in that. So that's something you can plan for the future and purchase the property in there, tax deferred, and all kinds of fun and interesting things in there. So flip properties are treated as inventory. Does anyone know what that means exactly? It's meaning, let's just say you purchased a house in October of 2018. And you already have some expenses that are associated with that house. You're not going to be able to write those off for your 2018 taxes. You go through the year 2019. Let's just say it was a really long flip. It took a long time, big project. You still can't write any expenses off for 2019. Then you finally sell the house in 2020. And all those expenses that you accumulate in 2018 and 2019 and through 2020, finally you can write them off. So that's something to keep in mind. It's inventory. It's not a long-term hold like you have renters in there and depreciation, all these other things. So just something to keep in mind, right? Questions? Okay. Spreadsheet analysis, shameless promotion. There's my information. My phone number, my email address. I do have some mentee and apprenticeship opportunities available. One gentleman here, Colton, actually, I'm working with him on something. He's really excited, motivated. So if you feel the need, you reach out and contact me and we can talk. So, all right. Before we move on to the spreadsheet, any questions at all? No? Going once. Yes. Curious how I'm getting my deals. Wow. Well, yeah. I buy from wholesalers, and I do buy from one wholesaler in particular because he doesn't piss me off like some of the other wholesalers do. That's kind of like he kind of filters through the sieve, and the other guys are like, you irritate me. But I mean, there was a deal that was sent my way earlier today. I might take a look at that one. So I do work with wholesalers. I will also tell you this. I know people have a hard time believing this, but I can pretty much, I wouldn't say 100% guarantee, but I can open up the MLS on any given day. There's a deal on the MLS. It's there. You just have to look for it. You have to know how to negotiate it. You need to look for the little points that point to that deal. Okay, so they are on the MLS. Longevity in the business, talking to realtors, agents, just surrounding yourself network-wise. People just randomly will give you a phone call out of the blue. Sometimes that happens too. By putting a sign on the property. I have a property that I'm rehabbing and put for sale by owner. I'm really surprised how many phone calls I've gotten off that sign. And people have cash and other things. So it just being around, getting yourself out there. I'm not the bandit sign guy. That's not my world. But there's people in this room. I heard one gentleman, I think he had a couple of wholesale deals. I don't know, what they're about. So coming to meetings like this, getting to know people, there's not just one source. There's multiple funnels of deals that are out there. You just have to be in the business. So questions? Yes.
The question?
And I heard it. The question is because of the different fires around California, up north, in particular the Paradise Fire. I'm down in the Marysville, Yuba City area. There has been some increased activity, but I don't think it's quite at the level that at first the news was putting out there and experiencing and so forth. Chico had a lot of properties that went pending immediately after the fires. There are people walking around with checks for cash. Some people to say, I don't want to wait till Paradise rebuilds. I want to locate in these other communities. So there have been some cash buyers. There's been activity along that way. But you also have to remember that I think for all practical purposes, kind of maybe more of a temporary market, like a window. And it's not going to go on forever. So I wouldn't base a whole business model on something that happened that's eventually going to, as these people disperse to other states, other parts of California, I wouldn't be building a business model around that. It's a temporary situation. So, okay. All right, well, let's open up the spreadsheet here. What time is it? 8:12? Good. Good time-wise. All right. Is this a spreadsheet? That's not a spreadsheet. There we go. All right. First of all, this spreadsheet is my creation for myself and my business. Okay, so there's things in here that reflect what my world's about and what I do. You're going to see things in there about commission. Well, when I purchase a property that's on the MLS, as a realtor, I get some commission back. So there's going to be a line item regarding that. Some of you who are not realtors, you're not going to get that commission. Now, you'll see the spreadsheet up there. My information is copyright in 2019, Randy Just, so forth. I am more than happy to give this spreadsheet to anyone in this room. Just send me an email message. My email address is up there. If you can put in the subject line, real estate roundtable spreadsheet request. So I get thousands and thousands of emails, and I will not be able to dig it out if you don't put that in there. At least I'll know what that's about. And if you can include your name, your phone number, and your real estate goal, okay? And I will gladly give this spreadsheet to you. You can massage it or change it, do whatever you want to do with it in that regard. But I would like to know who's using it, just my curiosity. So, all right. Well, hopefully this won't start acting funny here. What's that? Look on the side here. We don't have a laser pointer here, do we? On this thing? Oh, cool. Then how do you activate it? Red one there. Okay, there we go. Cool. Yeah, we got it. So how I laid this thing out was I have it broken out into different segments. And you'll see the repair costs are down at the bottom. In the middle, I have a holding cost section. And what you're going to do is you fill out the information on top. This is where the some of those cells that we were talking about earlier as we're going through the PowerPoint presentation. So I just put an address of property, you put some kind of identifier there for the property, just so you can pull it up again, save it, you know what it's about. Then we have I put the square footage of the property there. I use that number for my acquisition cost, price per square foot, and what I'm selling it for. You'll see those on the spreadsheet there. Then this is the part that pertains to me as a realtor. Purchase commission, meaning if I buy the property, I'm going to get 2.5% of the price. That's money that's going to come back to me. So that's effectively going to reduce my purchase price on the property by me getting that commission. But you guys can just put 0 in there. Then we have the selling commission. And now the selling commission is the commission percentage that I'm going to pay if I have a realtor listed. Okay? Some realtors charge 6, some charge 5, some charge 4, and then I don't know what Purple Brick is, what, negative 2% or something, or I don't know. They're very well funded. I think they're giving people money to list a house. No, is that how it's working with them? No, I don't know. Anyway, they're doing some weird stuff out there, so they're buying audience, but all right. And then we see closing cost contribution. That's a percent that this gentleman here, Randy, asked about closing costs. So when I sell this property, I'm expecting I'm going to be giving a 2% buyer contribution. Okay? I could put 1% in there, I could put 3%. These are all estimates that my scenario for this property I'm selling. So I'm front loading all the information here so I can get a proper calculation of how much profit I'm going to make on this property. And then we talked about the number of days to carry, and that's our hold time. Remember, we're talking about the numbers, the escrow, the failed escrow, and all that. So I put 120 days in there. You can figure out what your length of your project is. You can put 240, you can put 400 days in there, you can put 10 days. These are just the pieces of information. The better your information, the better you're going to be able to calculate what you need to do. So, and got the errors and emissions there. We talked about the 5 to 15%. You'll see here my purchase price per square foot is whatever the purchase price of the property is divided by the square foot. That's coming up with that. Then I put just 2 loan scenarios on here. One is percent down for loan number 1, which I treat as the purchase price of the property. So when I'm buying it, I'm putting 30% down, and then I might be getting a second loan for the renovation cost. And so it'd be 20% down for the renovation and 30% down for the purchase. Okay? Now, let me spend just a moment with that. I feel like I've been blessed in my life. I try to throw out positive energy and meet with people, network, and so forth. And at least for my flips, I get 100% financing. Okay, you're like, what? Yeah, with 0 points. Like, what? Anyway, I know. It's like, it's kind of stunned to hear that or something, or what? Anyway, so there's a few people in my life, some of them I've known for many, many years. They don't know what to do with their money. They won't get returns. They're frustrated with the stock market, all kinds of scenarios. They trust who I am. They like properties, their loans are secured by property. They know that these are maybe undervalued properties, meaning if they actually they foreclosed on me, they'd actually make money by taking the property over. So they'll give 100% financing. And right now, my 100% financing purchase interest rate that I'm typically getting from these lenders is 10%. So that's my world, okay? They don't backload the interest. They want their monthly payments. So that does cost me on my pocket each month when I do the holding costs. So, and then I'm further blessed because there's other people in my life that provide 100% financing for the rehab costs. Like, what? Anyway. And I give 12% to those folks. And now I made a short little comment earlier about the self-directed SEP IRAs. If you fully understand that mechanism, then you can solicit people to give you private party money financing, okay? So they have just cash just sitting in these self-directed, their SEP IRAs, whatever they have, and say, geez, I can put that money to work, and here, I'll pay you 12%. And so if you know the mechanics and train yourself and teach yourself and know that, that is a sales tool that you can use to acquire money for yourself. Okay? Now, one thing, I'm looking at a property this Friday, and I haven't fully completed on these. I've had a couple sales pitches. Ryan and I had a deal, and unfortunately this one didn't work out this way. But for some older folks that they need some additional income. They have a property, they need some additional income. I'm looking at this deal on Friday where I'm going to purchase the property from the lady. She's going to receive probably approximately $100,000. And then I'm going to say, you know something, I can take that $100,000 and then I can secure it against a property and you're going to loan the money back to me. And then I'm going to pay you 10% and then you're going to get a monthly payment amount every month while she's living in her apartment or whatever, because that's the direction she's going. She's an older lady. So you've helped them out. You've actually increased their monthly income. They've had a house that's falling down around them. They don't have the money to keep it in good repair, deferred maintenance, and so forth. So you've just turned a kind of a deplorable situation into something that's going to bring them extra income, and they're going to feel some extra security in their life. So that's just something to keep in mind as far as working with folks. Okay. Any questions on that? What I just said, you kind of got that figured out? I know somebody's like, what? I'm going to give money and they're going to give me money back? And like, what? How does that work? Anyway, so. There's the purchase price there. This is my sales commission and I'm getting back from the purchase price, so it actually reduces my purchase price, my closing costs, and my loan points and fees, and my net cost of purchase is there. Then we have the loan interest rate for the loan number 1, loan interest rate number 2, 14%. Yearly insurance costs, okay? On vacant properties, typically the insurance costs are quite high. For a vacant or a property that's owner occupied or has a renter in it, it might be a third or a quarter of what you'll be paying for vacant property insurance. That's because of vandalism and so forth, and a lot of times you're only able to get fire insurance. So like a little 1,200 square foot house, I'm probably going to be paying about $2,500 a year in vacant property insurance. So it gets kind of expensive, but unless someone can tell me an insurer out there that does it much more cheaply, I don't know, but that's my experience. I have house after house. There's usually TAPCO, Foremost, Lloyd's of London. There's a few insurers that seem to do these vacant homes. So. TAPCO, Foremost, Lloyd's of London. I think those are all the ones that... American Modern, yes, American Modern. So about $2,500 a year. Am I on the mark with that? Okay. So I can maybe dial in maybe $1,800 a year or something, maybe a little less, 16. Okay, but it's expensive, guys. So, but get your quote. There's your insurance, and then what your yearly costs are for electricity and water and sewer and so forth. HOA, those can be quite pricey for condos, and then PUDs, and then also your property tax factor. I ran mine at 1.35%, depending on where you are in the state of California or locations and so forth. You might run that at 1.45, 1.5. And this is all part of your holding cost. That's what's going to drive, it's going to drill down on the spreadsheet for that holding cost section. So, and that basically covers the first part of my spreadsheet there, where I have the net proceeds from the sale, and then the net here, and I come up with the gross here, gross profit. We're just subtracting the net cost of purchase from the sales price, and I come up with $223,000, looks like $508. So, are we good with that? Yes, sir. Some of the policies are fully earned after 3 months, and there's different scenarios there. As far as yes, sir.
Other companies will have about a $250 minimum. If you have a good agent, he'll find you those kind of things. You don't want to get stuck in something that's a 3, 6, 9, or 12 months because you got to pay for that whole month, and there is a minimum earned. So if you get a 12-month policy, you might end up paying for the whole 6 months. Even if you're done in 4, you're not going to get a refund. You're not going to realize any cash back. What you want to do is get a good agent, ask him all the questions you possibly can regarding that. It's different. A vacant insurance is different than, say, a builder's risk. Builder's risk is primarily almost entirely earned. So keep that in mind.
Now, as far as the spreadsheet goes, this is where we tied into the number of days to carry. I went ahead and prorate the insurance. I mean, that's just to mathematically, but these scenarios that this gentleman mentioned, just keep that in mind with the insurance. So, well, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the holding cost section here. Okay. All right. Now, when we put the information at the top, we said our holding period would be 120 days. So that's where you're seeing all those 120 days coming down the side there, or in the center there, I should say. So what's happening here is we're figuring we're holding for 120 days, where we put that information, the top part of the spreadsheet, the 12% for the first loan. That's what's calculating interest for a period of 120 days, $2,800. The second loan, $4,935.43 based on that interest rate of 14% for 120 days. The property tax, that is based on, when I did that calculation, is based on the purchase price times that property tax rate of 1.35 that I had up there. Once again, you can make those adjustments that you feel for a particular home, that property tax rate might be a higher percentage. And then we have the insurance, electricity, water, sewer, natural gas, and HOA. Those are all set up as prorated numbers. So this is actually the 120 days, what it's going to cost you to hold the property for that period of time. And then just for fun, I have this number over here, what your whole cost is per day. And I break these out here where we have at the top the sales price, remember the gross profit. We're subtracting out the holding costs, we're subtracting out the repair and renovation costs, and then finally we get down to the net profit of $78,904. So that's really the number when you're doing this spreadsheet, what you're trying to derive, is this a profitable project or not? Now if I scroll down below, you're going to see the repair and renovation costs. I'll talk about those. And a little idea from line items and how you can change that and so forth. But questions at this point at all in this middle section on the spreadsheet? No? Is it kind of, we're muddy, we're bored, or we're clear on what's going on? Clear. Okay. I know these are dry numbers, but I come back to my statement I made earlier this evening. Get your numbers together. I know it's really exciting to start tearing your house apart and doing all that fun stuff to it, but in order to figure out if it's going to be profitable or not, this is the stuff that you need to do. You can't get around it. The math is the math is the math. So, all right. And I'm trying to help you out here if you do ask for it to get it from me. Some idea when you open it up, like, what is this? This is just a jumble of stuff. Well, there is some rhyme and reason, everything that's going on here. So. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now this is the actual repair and renovation cost here. And I'm kind of grabbing numbers out of the air from experience. We can talk about some of these a bit. Permits, $1,500. HVAC. My typical experience for maybe a 1,200 square foot home on an HVAC system, brand new, meaning there's no ductwork in the home. At least my supplier I use, I'm typically about $6,500 to $7,500 on an HVAC system. As far as my flips go, I hate those dual packs that are on the roof. I positively hate them. I think aesthetically they look like crap. And typically what I'm doing on my smaller footprint houses, my 1,000 square foot homes, 1,100s, I'm taking the hot water heater out and putting a tankless hot water heater in there. So I free up the space where the old hot water heater was. And the other item is I take the furnace out of there. A lot of times the furnace is in a closet or something like that. I take the furnace, it gets tipped sideways and ends up in the attic. And then the condenser for the air conditioning unit ends up outside somewhere. It costs me more money to do that, but I think aesthetically the home looks nicer because it doesn't have that thing sticking on the top. And I also, instead of replacing exactly the way it was, I will get that up in the attic there. And you'd be surprised on a small footprint house, like in a laundry room, how much space you can really pick up. And sometimes it's large enough you can actually get a half bathroom in there by removing those items. I mean, or even sometimes a full bathroom. So it's just a little trick that I do. And people seem to appreciate it. You know, it's good stuff. So flooring, painting, gutters, roof, wood flooring, kitchen, carpeting, bathrooms, fencing, and landscape. Once again, I don't put a whole bunch of money in landscaping. If I want to do a garage conversion, there's a space for it. General carpentry, miscellaneous, drywall, pest report, electrical, pool removal, parking lot work, plumbing. There's the numbers. You can change the title, whatever you need to change it to on the left-hand side and put the number in there. For some projects, you're going to want something else. Yes?
Does that incur additional costs? Back to the HVAC. Going back to the HVAC, when you put that in the attic, do you incur additional costs when you do that as well?
Well, you have to put a platform in there. You also have to run some electrical work up into the attic for a light, a service light. So there's some additional work involved in doing that. But it's just my homes, my small footprint homes. When you have homes that have a small footprint, you try to extract every square footage you can to get out of that home to make it livable space. It's about an intelligent floor plan design because buyers will recognize that. They will. And I don't know how many of you have been in a smaller home where it goes from, you have to walk through the bedroom to get to the bathroom. There's like 2 doors. Haven't you been in those homes? You've seen that stuff? Yeah, you're like, what the heck? It's like, okay, so someone's sleeping in here. I have to go to the bathroom. Like, okay, I'll sneak in there or whatever. So these are the things that buyers pick up in the marketplace as far as faulty floor plans, okay? And I move walls around. If I need to move walls around to create an optimal floor plan, I will do that. So that's just my world. And some other flippers out there, they'll just like, oh, well, whatever. This is the way the house was. We'll just let it be. And then they spend the money on it. And then they wonder why it sits on the market for 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 12 weeks. And they're doing price reductions. I'm sorry? Yes, absolutely. Okay. The question was, if I make those changes, do I have to get a new permit? Okay, I'm going to come back to earlier in the conversation about doing an all-encompassing permit and knowing my scope of work that I'm doing. So I can get by with just pulling one permit. Sometimes I might have to pull an additional one, but the idea is to get as much in there in that original permit as possible. So once again, the scope of the work. And at least as far as myself being in this business for a while, the house, for lack of it speaks to me, okay? I can't describe it. I kind of know colors. It's like this house is speaking a color to me. This house is speaking a floor plan to me. And I usually can assess it within about 15 minutes or so when I go to a house, what's going to work. And I'm a real stickler about that because sometimes like kitchens and stuff, maybe the counter needs to be 6 inches over instead of the 6 inches. I know 6 inches doesn't sound like much. But sometimes where the refrigerator is or work areas or something like that, just sometimes the smallest little changes make a big difference. And it's just part of having experience and figuring these things out. And if you don't have, you don't have the skills or talents as far as colors and the design, I suggest you probably get someone to help you because floor plans are a big deal. Houses just feel funny if they're not done properly, and you wonder how come they don't sell. I had a house here I sold a couple months ago, just case in point. There's a home around the corner from this one rehab house that I did. This was one of those homes where they had the doors in the bathroom, 2 bedroom doors, you got to walk through there. And this home sat on the market. I think they had a total of 4 or 5 offers, and they kept falling out of escrow and falling out of escrow. And people could see it wasn't the best quality workmanship to the point that I had an open house at this particular property that I had, the renovated house, Did an open house of all days on a Thursday from 4 to 7. Kind of a a little awkward day, but the buyer came. I think about 4:15. I had an offer within 2.5 hours for this house. It was a very, very nicely remodeled house. This buyer actually was one of the buyers that had an offer on the house around the corner. But that house, they just had done a home inspector was supposed to show up that day. They didn't. They got frustrated. The house wasn't, the more they went into it, the less they liked it. They bailed on that escrow. And then that thing was still on the market longer and longer. So do it right. Be proud of your work. Take pride in your work. And it's going to help you as far as the sale of that property is concerned. So, yes, sir.
What's your back of envelope calculation for a garage conversion that you left out there?
All the fields that are here, you're just putting a number in there. Meaning a general contractor, you say, well, how much for the garage conversion? He says $7,800. That's what you put in here. There's no ratios, no percentages, none of that. So, okay. Does that address your question? Okay. Yes, sir. I don't have that up here because different people are in different tax brackets and so forth. The question was for the IRS tax calculation. People's scenarios are different from what they have going on. So I just treat that, you can have your own independent spreadsheet. It might be tied to this just for what you need to do for your business. So.
You're trying to sell the property on the market and the fence blows down, that's going to delay the selling for like 2 weeks or whatever.
Well, the question was about how do I handle fencing? Okay, this is an interesting question because it's a bigger question than just the fence, and let me explain why. If the fence is not in good repair, there's a possibility you're not going to be able to sell this home to a USDA buyer, an FHA buyer, or a VA buyer. In other words, because there's problems with the fence, so you may be forced to repair that. So it has to reach a certain level of repair in order for it to be sellable to that particular group of people. Now, conventional loan, you say, I don't want to fix the fence, so therefore you're limiting the buyers for the property. But in some cases, if you have a large property, fences can be very expensive to build new ones. So you have to make some decision about, okay, what am I going to do about the fence? I'm going to repair it. I've done repairs on fences. I don't know if I've ever really totally rebuilt a fence. I have doing a rehab right now. I added a new fence, but it wasn't because there was an issue with the fence behind it. It was more about design of the house and architecturally and so forth. So anyway, anything else? Oh, yes. Oh, I'll give you the mic.
I just wanted to say that I'm a real estate professional, and in the marketplace, we know who's flipping and who does a good job and who doesn't. And I can say, because I want to protect my buyers, and Randy is my significant other, and not just because he's my significant other, I can truly say he does produce a fantastic product, and I'm proud to share that with my buyers. I would proudly buy one of his flips. So, that's really important. Integrity is really important. If you get a bad reputation, because I've seen flippers out there who do nothing, and they try flipping a house, and the carpets are filthy, and all they did was slap paint on very sloppily, or buyers recognize when you take shortcuts and the permits. So have integrity, and it will come back to bless you.
Did you have a question or? I'm sorry? Okay. Okay. Questions at all? Anything else? There's my information. Let me scroll back up there again. Let me say more than happy to give out this spreadsheet. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach me or there you go. Anything else? Going once, going twice. Thank you very much.
All right, anybody have any wins since the last time we met? It's been quite a while. So it's a whole new year, lots of good stuff. Shane, come on up.
Hey. I just closed on my flip or my home. Is that better? In Auburn Park today. We just closed by the skin of our teeth, thanks to Ari. Boom. Ari's awesome. And Will and Ken and a couple of other people who helped fund it last minute as funding fell through. A lot happened the last week. It was a little scary, but we all pushed together and we got it done. So, huh? What's it gonna be? Oh man, we're adding 1,000 square foot, 400 square foot master suite. Man, it's gonna be beautiful. You got the kitchen in the middle, living room, family room, bedrooms on a little over a quarter-acre lot. Auburn Park, beautiful area. Should go somewhere around 900, I think. Yeah, somewhere around there. Higher. Okay. Got it for 426, 233 rehab. It's gonna be a good one. Okay.
David's got something. Also, I know there's a couple people who just got their real estate license too. They might want to come up here and say something.
All right, got very lucky last week, found 2 deals. Both are mobile homes. One's in a park in North Highlands. So we just, tomorrow we're gonna close on that. And then Rockland, we just bought on Friday. So just purchased 2 mobile homes inside of 2 weeks. So that's a win-win.
And I'm glad that Ken mentioned David. David's also my insurance broker, and he's done my last couple of flips, so I can't speak highly enough about him. Alrighty, come on this side. For some reason, we're getting some feedback from how we set up stuff.
Everybody's right-handed. Who here is not right-handed? There we go. Not everybody is right-handed.
Okay, so you guys step on that side.
So, just a quick one. My wife and I passed our real estate exams last Thursday. Very exciting. I was mildly terrified. They give you 3 hours and 15 minutes to take the test. I did it in 45 minutes and went up the front. She's like, "Did you fly through that?" I'm like, "Yeah, did I pass? Like, please?" And they actually make you take it outside. They print it out and they tape it closed. And then you got to go outside. Because I guess if you get mad, you beat them up. I mean, I don't know why they make you do that, but you have to go outside the secure building to find out you passed. And so I passed, and I went out, and I was sitting in the car waiting for her, and she came out, and I saw her at the door. She opened it and did the cutest little happy dance. So I knew before she even got to the car that she had passed the test. So, yeah, that's our win for today. That and then Shane's property. That's right.
Alrighty. So I think the wins part is really important of this. It's great that we can all celebrate and everybody, and also motivate you if you've been thinking about getting your license. If Ken can pass, you know. Exactly. All right, anybody else have any wins? Alrighty, moving right along. Okay, it's time for Sponsor Spotlight. We've got all this new great space and this new equipment and everything, so I just wanted to give a shout out to our sponsors. Most importantly, Dwight, get back here. I just want to give a shout out to Dwight. Dwight's the owner of the Fulton 80 Tap House. And, I mean, is this place not awesome or what? I mean, since the Real Estate Roundtable was founded, our very first meeting was at Cupros in Midtown, and we found that the importance of alcohol is really important in networking. Yeah, exactly. And it's also great to have food here. I know a lot of you come from work or don't have a chance to eat first, so it's great that you can have. And by supporting him, by buying food and alcohol, we get this awesome place. So Dwight is awesome to work with, and we love it here. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him. Next, I want to give a shout out to our volunteers. Everybody that helps run this group is a volunteer. Jen does a great job. She does tons of social media. I'm thrilled that Colton stepped up and helping with all the technical aspects. We've added new stuff, so we'll work out some of the bugs. We think we know what some of the mic problems are, so just bear with us. It'll get better. Marissa is always got our back. She comes early and helps us set up. Simone and Shane help on the check-in. I want to give a shout out to my stepbrother, Steve. He's been helping out with video and photography tonight. And of course, our speakers, all the people that support the group from a volunteer standpoint. That's what keeps this group going. And our brand new sponsor, not only does he volunteer his time to speak at the group, he's helping us financially too. So Randy Just is our latest sponsor. Did you want to say something in a new? I think you know what Randy's all about, so you'll see more of him. He's a regular sponsor, so he'll be coming around. The one thing that I did want to, he mentioned a little bit about his mentorship. Colton's one of his new partner mentors, and what I really like about the way Randy's doing it, that he's a partner, he's in the deal, he's got financial, and to learn this business, you really have to have skin in the game. And I think Randy's approach to that and Colton's situation and willingness to jump on that, I'm just thrilled for them. And I'm thrilled that they met here at the Real Estate Roundtable. So partners are getting formed. Next, Matt, the mortgage guy.
Hold the applause.
Done.
I'm like a comedian that bombed his set. I won't take too much of your guys' time. I know these things run late. Me and Eric talked about spending the 5 minutes or however much time I come up here to educate you guys. The good news is I plan on doing that in the future. The bad news is I don't have anything prepared for tonight. But one of the things that would probably add value to this group is that most folks don't know lending isn't where it was in 2006, but there is a ton of non-QM products out there. There's stuff where you can use non-qualified mortgage. So a lot of folks, especially in this space, real estate investing, are like, hey, I don't have a 9-to-5. I'm not a W-2 employee. I can't get Fannie, Freddie, FHA type loans. But there are, if you have enough money, you've got a couple years self-employed, you can show that you have income coming in on bank statements, there's alternative lending is pretty much what it is. So in the coming months, I'm going to present different stuff, different products we have with that. A great group like this, I just want to be a resource. And the good news is I've got calls from this group, and I really enjoy helping people. I personally do about 120 deals a year. In my office, we do 1,200 to 1,500 deals a year, so I see a lot of real estate deals. And so calling me, if I can't personally help you, I can at least say, hey, I've seen that before and give you good advice. If it's something like a lot loan, I don't do those. I know who does at US Bank. If it's a construction loan, I don't do those. I know who does those at Umpqua Bank. So I'd love to point you in the right direction. Ryan Nickel referred me to somebody. I talked to a nice gal who's in a little bit of a pickle. And I like to think that, even though I couldn't personally do anything for her, the 10 or 15 minutes I spent on the phone kind of guiding her and giving advice was helpful. I know Ryan does the same stuff. He comes across people that need his help, and he spends the time to help them out. Not necessarily going to result in any business for either one of us, but trying to help folks out. So call me. I'd love to chat. MattTheMortgageGuy.com. You can get my phone number and all my contact info there. I've got a YouTube channel with a bunch of good info on mortgage and real estate and things of that nature. So reach out to me. I also talked to somebody. Where'd our Alabama guy go? The guy said he's an Alabama flipper. That was my win, Eric. Alabama property after 12 months of no rent. They paid their rent in January. The new tenants. Old tenants are out, new tenants are in. So anyhow, that's my spiel. If you think of something you want me to talk about mortgage-wise, and you're just saying, hey, I've heard about this or I've heard about that, can you speak on that? Shoot me some ideas. Because I'm not going to be here in 2 weeks, but the first meeting in February, I plan on coming up here and presenting something. If you think of something that would be of value to this group, please let me know, and I'd love to present on it. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Matt. Sierra Bay. Oh, you know what? You sent a slide, didn't you? It didn't make it into the deck. I apologize. Do you want me to check the email?
There's like 3 bullet points on it. There's not much to it. Hey, over there. Hey, everyone. I'm with Sierra Bay Real Estate and Development, along with the crew back there, that whole table. Woo! We are a brokerage. We are an investment company. We do infill construction. We pretty much do anything and everything related to real estate. And we have a pretty awesome, I'm not even going to pay attention to that. We have a pretty awesome apprentice program that I'll talk about a little bit later. I was told to talk about something specific, and with a few minutes, I couldn't really figure too much out, so I'm going to talk about foreclosures a little bit, and mostly about real estate investing in general. So I started to really get into foreclosures as a strategy about a month ago, hitting it hard, 100% all in. And I did that for a few reasons. Number one, I'm not reinventing the wheel. There are some successful investors in the Sacramento area that work on foreclosures. Ryan Nickel, I believe, works on a good amount of them. Alexis McGee. Laurel is gone, but I know she does a lot of them. And a gentleman by the name of Carl Dexter, which many people probably don't know of, and I'll talk about a little bit. But essentially, that was one reason. The second reason, you can make a lot of money. That's pretty much it. The third reason, you get to help a lot of people. You get to help people out of really, really bad situations. And to me, that's worth more than any money you can make. Now, it's not easy. It's really hard work. You need communication skills. You got to be personable. If you don't have those, partner up with somebody who is, if you want to use this strategy. You got to communicate well. You've got to help them, and they got to know that you're being genuine and not just a robot. No sales pitches or anything like that. So, sorry, it's hard without the slide. I'm trying to remember it in my head right now. It takes a lot of perseverance. You know, you're going to get denied. You're going to be told no a lot. You're not going to go to one door, one phone call, and get a deal out of it, especially with foreclosures. You got to go multiple times. You got to follow up. If you call and you get the wrong number, maybe you have to door knock. If you send a mailer out and you don't follow up, you just probably wasted that money. I think you need like 5 to 10 contacts in order to get a deal done. So you got to follow up, and you got to have a system to do that. You got to track your mailers. Maybe you send them today, call them in a week. They don't answer, door knock. Be persistent about it. And that's pretty much good advice for any real estate investing, not just foreclosures, but I really like foreclosures, so that's what I do. I mentioned Carl Dexter. He is awesome. So he has been doing foreclosure investing in foreclosures for 20 years. And I met him about 4 or 5 weeks ago with Eric and Alex, and what he teaches is just mind-blowing. I've never heard of it. I've never heard anybody do it. It's a complete niche. And Sierra Bay and I are awesome, and we were able to get him to teach at our apprentice program tomorrow night at 6:30. It's going to be fantastic. He has 2 hours. He talks a lot. He talks fast, and he's going to spread a ton of knowledge. So if anybody's interested in that, we don't have our address up. You can talk to myself, Will, Natalie, Monica, Ken. There might be some more Sierra Bay. Lionel for the address.
If you want to come tomorrow, you want the information, email me. It's Ken, K-E-N, @sierrabayrealestate.com.
Yep. And so for our apprentice program, we have it once a month, completely free of charge. We help investors pretty much do everything that you learned today, and we're very hands-on. You come bring us a deal, we'll work with you. We'll figure out ARV, comps, construction, timeline, funding. We've got general contractors with us. We will work with you to get a deal done. And I mentioned the idea of helping people. That's what we do with everybody we work with. We help work with you. So if you guys are interested, Ken just gave out his information. If you have comments or questions about foreclosures, come talk to me. If you want to join our brokerage, come talk to Will. And I think that's pretty much about it. Yeah, not bad for not missing this slide. Thank you, guys.
So I'm also really proud of Shane. He started coming to our group within the last year and was just pondering the idea of real estate. And now, obviously, he's jumped in with full feet, doing a flip. He's doing real estate sales. I'm really happy to see that, Shane. All right. Also, we have sponsors that are friends of the Real Estate Roundtable. A lot of the more seasoned veterans feel that there's so much value given here that they would gladly pay some of the fees that the other groups charge, $20, $25 a month. So they just make an annual contribution just to keep the group going. One of our principles when we founded this group is to make sure the real estate investing knowledge is available to anybody who wants it. So our goal is to always keep this group free. So we thank those. That would be Colin Clemson and Guido. And there's still more sponsorship opportunities. If you feel you get value here and want to contribute, just talk to me. Pitches. Anybody else have a pitch? Come on up.
Hey guys, so I just wanted to share about a conference, a real estate conference that happens annually. It's the San Francisco Bay Summit. Has anyone been to it in the past? It's just one person. I've been to all 3 past years that they've had it. It's very similar in spirit to the roundtable. So you have about 300 or 400 investors there. No pitch, no sales, none of the pitchy stuff. And everyone's very open to share. There's newbies, there's very experienced investors, and it's a 2-day conference that's going to happen on the 16th and 17th of February. So if you guys can go to the sfbaysummit2019.com. They have an early bird special price of it's at $295 is what it's at until tomorrow. So tomorrow's last day, and then it goes up. So if you guys are interested in it, you can take a look at the website and sign up. Again, it's sfbaysummit2019.com. It's very awesome. It's the best one I've been to, I'd say, in terms of just the friendliness and the atmosphere out there. So really inviting anyone who wants to go.
Anybody else? Anybody have any deals that they want to pitch? Oh, Ari, come on up. You as well.
Hey guys, just a quick plug. I appreciate Shane and the Sierra Bay crew for the shout out there, but I am a private lender here in the area. Do both residential and commercial. Work with a small group, about $60 million. We fund local deals here in California, and rates are competitive. There's no junk fees, straight up process. We're a small group, well funded. We move quickly. We can't fund up to 100%, but we do fund up to 90%. 90% cost, that is, purchase plus rehab, and typically turn deals around in around 7 to 8 days. So if you're interested, feel free to flag me down. I'll be here. Thanks a lot.
Kind of a win and a pitch. Got my first deal in escrow for a flip on Thursday. So, private lenders out there, purchase price is $227. Just come see me after the meeting if you're interested. This is my 10th flip in the last 12 months, so I'm an experienced investor. I'll cover all the rehab costs, just looking to see if someone wants to make 10% interest over the next 3 to 6 months. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sam Latino, old veteran of the business here, probably 40 plus years in the business. I've flipped about everything there is to flip, everything from notes to real estate to commercial to land, you name it, done it, trailers. So what I've done now is I'm just completing a book on how to do all this stuff. It should be done and published hopefully in the next 60, 90 days. I'm also a coach, and I take people by hand and show them, structure them to show them how to do what we do. Money's never been a problem. We've always got money to invest. So as you find deals, the money's there to close the deals. That's never been an issue. So as you get coached and you get to learn how to be a bird dog or a wholesaler, it's easy to close. We've got proof of funds, so any deals you're looking at and you need proof of funds to be able to show the seller that you are valid and you can close the deal and the funds are there, we can show them that. So I do everything I can to help somebody. Kind of my legacy that I'm trying to leave behind is taking the knowledge that I've had, that I've learned over the past 40 years, put it in a book structure, share it with my students, so when I leave this planet, I've helped people learn how to fish and not take them fishing, and maybe it'll help them prosper and help them take care of their families and them. And anything I can help with, I'm here. I got a pocket full of business cards. I'd be more than happy to give you my cards. And if I can help in any way possible, I'm here to help. I thank Eric and the group here for putting this on and giving us all the ability to be able to share what we share and get together and help each other, because we all can always use somebody's help and networking and learning more. So Eric, thank you so much for your for your group. Thank you.
Come on up, Josh. So Josh is now our second youngest. So the kid Alex here, he's 20 years old. So he's now our new youngest member.
Hello, my name is Josh. I'm looking to wholesale and stuff like that. Thing I want to pitch is if you guys are looking for properties, buy and hold, flip, or rental, shoot me email. My name is, Joshua July 3738 at gmail.com is probably the best way to reach me. They'll also send out the email list at the end of the meeting in a few days. And just let me know, like, your price range, what you're looking for, either buy and hold or a fixer-upper. Can you close with cash, or can you get access to private money to close it with cash? And yeah. Figure I'd throw that out.
Anybody else with pitches? So I just wanted to mention one last thing since we're graced by the presence of Ryan Nickel. He also has a meetup group which meets tomorrow night in Marysville at 6:30 at the Wide Awake Geek. All right, so that's, other than this, that's probably my next favorite meetup. So Ryan has got to be the most creative deal maker that I know in our local community, so I really appreciate Ryan. All right, resources. Anybody reading any good books lately? Know any good websites, podcasts? No one's reading a good book right now? Which one? David Goggin, You Can't Hurt Me. What's that about? Okay, great. Nothing else? Oh, come over here. What'd you say?
So David Goggins is a great book. The guy is a phenomenal. He's a beast. So it's a great book. It's called You Can't Hurt Me. And then the other one is for entrepreneurs that feel the calling that they feel that this calling is to create some things. And so it's called Called to Create. And I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a startup guy from Silicon Valley. But it's a really good book. And I'm in the middle of the third one right now, so I can't recommend it until I finish it. But those are the two that I would say.
Awesome. I do have blog on there. I post a lot of stuff from Ryan Lindquist, Sacramento appraisal blog. It's probably the best resource for local market data and trends and graphs, what's going on in our community. So I always added my own recommendations. So this is my pick of the week. I like audio content, podcasts and audiobooks. But Epic Real Estate Investing, this is a fantastic podcast. It's kind of a unique format because there's multiple speakers on there, so every day they have a different topic or a different approach, or sometimes it's on mindset, sometimes it's on investing. Great podcast. So if you're looking for more awesome real estate content, check that one out. What's that? You were on there? I told you it was great. Jen, tell us about the book of the month club, real estate book club.
Thank you for the people that came out to the Real Estate Book Club last month. You guys are awesome. So this month, or February 4th, we're going to be talking about crushing it in apartments and commercial real estate. This is a really good book that was highly recommended. It's also an audiobook. Anybody that wants to be into multifamily, it's really fun to talk about. We meet the first of the month every Monday at 7 p.m. at Temple Coffee.
Yeah, the book club is great. It's more intimate. It's at Temple Coffee, which is a great location. And it's Jen's show, so it's fun to just show up as an attendee for me. Also, if you're not familiar, we have the Real Estate Roundtable group page. All sorts of content put on there. In fact, that's where we're live streaming the information right now. So if you haven't already joined our community, I've contacted and done deals off our page. So if you're not a member of that, please join. Also, our friend Tapan over at Capital City Wealth Builders is doing a 3-day real estate conference this weekend. As of today, he still had about 4 spots left. So if you're interested in getting some high quality great value content. You might want to check into that. Once again, it's time for the real estate road trip. Robert Campbell's going to be speaking at the Bay Area Wealth Builders this Thursday night. He's one of the guys I follow as far as market cycles in California. We also have Bruce Norris will be coming up at NorCal RIA in March. But I think the combination of these two guys as far as how they're forecasting the market is excellent. So either talk to me afterwards, there'll be another email. But if you're interested, we carpool down, we meet up and head down. Colton's a regular, and I think the road trips. You know what's great about them is that when you're stuck in the car for a couple hours with some of your fellow real estate, yeah, Alex is over there. Alex goes with us too. I mean, that's where you really get to connect someone. You go learn some great contact. You get an opportunity to talk about it afterwards, and you get to really learn, some of the more personal traits about your fellow real estate investors. And like we always say around here, if you want to partner with people, you need to know, like, and trust them. So I highly recommend getting stuck in the car with someone for about 2.5 hours. You'll really get to know them. We have a great calendar of awesome speakers coming up. So in 2 weeks, our presenter is going to be Don Costa. Don Costa is a high-volume flipper in the Fresno area. Ryan actually works with him and knows him really well. In fact, so we get to be graced with his presence again. He only comes to my group when he speaks, so when he comes here as an attendee, I am thrilled. But Don Costa, he did somewhere around 200 flips last year, and he's going to talk about all the aspects about particularly how he does it at such a high volume. I mean, you really have to systemize your business when you're doing that. He also has the Flip Talk podcast, so I'm anticipating a big crowd because the plan is to leverage his audience as well. So that'll be a great one. Following that, we're going to have Alexander Munn. He's a real estate attorney. There's been a lot of changes in the real estate world. A lot of stuff that's been on the radar, even things like rent control, which didn't pass, is still a hot topic, both in the government and with advocacy groups. So that'll be great. I saw him speak at the SAC Association of Realtors, and he's really funny too. So when you can find someone that can give you legal content and entertain you, that's a rare combination. And then followed by that, we're going to have our friend Ryan Lundquist come and give us a market update about how he's analyzing what's going on in the market. Once again, if you haven't checked out the Sacramento appraisal blog, it's probably the best resource for market data on what's going on in Sacramento. And also, Ryan's funny too, so we got some good content coming up. So that's what we've got on the calendar. Anybody have any aha moments? Any light bulbs go off tonight? Nope. Well, I'll always make a comment. So I'm always amazed at how great this group is. Thank you, Randy. Randy has got so much information packed into that brain of his, and it's fun to just get to hang out with him and learn. And like I said, I'm thrilled that he's working with Colin, and I know he's looking for more people to work with too, so make sure you get a chance to talk with him. And with that, why don't you go out there and make some good things happen? We'll see you in 2 weeks. Make sure you stay in network. If there was anybody you heard during the intro round that you want to connect with, we got the room till 10 o'clock, so please stay in network. And by the way, all the slides and will be sent out in the next day or so, so keep an eye out for them, and we'll look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.